Welcome to today's explainer. All right, let's talk about your monthly internet bill. For most of us, it's just a straight up sunk cost, right? Money right out the door every single month. But what if we completely flipped that script? What if we started treating your wasted, unused internet bandwidth not as a loss, but as a seriously valuable digital asset? I mean, what if the connection you're already paying for could actually generate value for you, completely in the background? Well, today we are diving into exactly how that works by looking at a fascinating platform called Grass. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by unpacking this idea of your invisible digital asset. Then we'll look at how you actually power the Grass network. We absolutely have to talk about uncompromised privacy and security, and then we'll break down the fun stuff: points, multipliers, rewards, and finally tokens and real digital ownership. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, your invisible digital asset. So ask yourself, what if the internet you don't use could automatically pay you? Think about it. When you buy an internet package, you're essentially renting a giant pipe with a massive amount of capacity. But let's be real, unless you are literally streaming 4K movies at the exact same time while downloading massive video game files, you're practically never using that pipe to its full potential. The vast majority of that bandwidth is just sitting there, totally idle. Grass is basically asking us to completely reimagine that idle connection as an untapped revenue stream. Which brings us to this core philosophy from Grass. You pay for internet every month, but most of it goes unused. It's a resource you've always had. Now it works for you. Honestly, this is the massive aha moment of this whole explainer. You aren't going out and buying anything new. You aren't changing your daily habits at all. You're literally just flipping a switch to finally extract value from a resource you already own, letting it generate rewards for you on autopilot. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, powering the Grass network. So what exactly is this thing? Well, Grass is a network of millions of people all sharing their unused bandwidth. But a really fair question is, who are they sharing it with? Basically, the platform allows verified institutions to tap into your idle bandwidth to support their online services, specifically for things like powering web data requests. Imagine companies that need to route traffic or access live data for real-world applications. Instead of building these massive, clunky, centralized server farms, they're tapping into the distributed, decentralized power of regular internet connections all over the globe. By participating, you're essentially helping build a way more equitable, globally distributed internet infrastructure. How cool is that? And we aren't just talking about a handful of people here. 8.5 million. That's the number of users worldwide currently trusting and powering the Grass infrastructure. Just to put that massive number into perspective, that is roughly the entire population of New York City all sharing their bandwidth. So yeah, this isn't some tiny beta test, it's a massive, thriving global ecosystem. Millions of people have already woken up to the fact that their unused internet is a literal asset and they've put it to work. Now, you might be thinking, okay, joining a global network of millions to route web data requests sounds insanely technical. But the reality, the onboarding is shockingly frictionless. It's just 3 steps. 1, download the Grass app. 2, create an account. And 3, start earning rewards. That's the whole shebang. Once you sign in, the software just runs silently in the background of your day-to-day life. It's specifically designed to stay completely out of your way, doing all the heavy lifting of allocating that idle bandwidth without you ever having to actively manage a single thing. Which naturally brings us to a very important topic, Section 3, uncompromised privacy and security. Look, I get it. Whenever we talk about frictionless background apps and sharing network connections, the alarm bells immediately start ringing in our heads, right? Well, the Grass ecosystem is built squarely on 3 core pillars: privacy, security, and control. And here's the absolute most crucial takeaway. Grass is built strictly to share your unused bandwidth and literally nothing else. Yes, the network routes data through your connection, but it does not and actually cannot look at your connection. Grass has absolutely zero access to your private info. They can't see your personal online activity. Your data stays 100% yours, period. And you definitely don't just have to take their word for it either. The software is regularly audited, constantly monitored, and it's actually recognized as completely safe to use by all the leading antivirus providers. That is a massive stamp of undeniable trust from major third-party security watchdogs. The whole system was fundamentally engineered from the ground up with your privacy as the top priority, totally walling off the bandwidth being shared from any personal data that originates on your device. All right, let's get into the really fun part. Section 4, points, multipliers, and rewards. Now that we totally understand the tech behind this, and we've got that crucial peace of mind when it comes to privacy, Let's talk about the gamified mechanics of how sharing your connection actually translates into tracked contributions. Grass uses two distinct metrics for this. First up, we've got uptime points. You earn these literally just for keeping your device online and available for the Grass network to tap into. Oh, and you can also rack up extra uptime points through referrals, when friends join through your link and become active users. Then, on the flip side, we have network points. These are earned when your internet connection is actually actively being used by the network to handle traffic and power those web data requests we talked about. Put them together, and these 2-point systems comprehensively track your overall participation. And I've got to point out this massive advantage, a 3x multiplier. Yes, you can earn 3 times more uptime points simply by running Grass on an Android device. So if you're seriously looking to maximize your tracked contributions, firing up the Android application is a real game changer. It gives you an immediate, huge boost just for keeping your mobile device connected and available in your pocket. And finally, let's wrap things up with Section 5, tokens and digital ownership. This is where the whole concept of an invisible asset fully comes to life. Grass tokens are the rewards you earn for sharing your bandwidth. And listen, these aren't just arbitrary digital gold stars or meaningless video game points. These tokens genuinely reflect your contribution, giving you a way to actually own a real piece of the internet infrastructure that you are helping to power. The points you accumulate, which factor in things like your bandwidth usage and your physical location, they help determine the Grass tokens you eventually receive. It's this incredible paradigm shift from just being a passive consumer of the internet to becoming a true equitable stakeholder. And we know for a fact that these rewards are very real. Check out this timeline. On October 28, 2024, the Grass Foundation executed its massive initial airdrop. They successfully distributed 100 million tokens to more than 2 million eligible Grass users. That brings us to right now, the present, where users are actively accumulating more points. And looking ahead to the future, there will absolutely be subsequent Grass token airdrops. So even if you completely missed out on that initial October drop, don't worry. The network is specifically designed for continued point accumulation so you can qualify for future token distributions. Just a quick, important note on eligibility. Just to make sure we're completely setting accurate expectations here, you might not be eligible to receive tokens if you happen to live in a jurisdiction that's subject to sanctions or significant regulatory risk. Also, for our eligible users in the United States and Canada, payouts are going to be made available very soon. It's just always a good idea to be aware of your local regulatory landscape whenever you participate in these kinds of networks. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question just sort of ringing in your ears. Since pretty much everyone already pays for internet every single month, why not put your idle connection to work for you? Today, we've explored exactly how a resource that you ignore every single day can be seamlessly, securely, and completely privately transformed into points and ultimately real digital ownership tokens. It's just such a fascinating reimagining of our digital lives, taking a frustrating sunk cost and turning it into an active, invisible asset. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep optimizing, and I'll catch you next time.